To WBNN, Beverly Nation, live from Lagos, Nigeria, via talkshoe.com. I'm Queen Visionary Angela, walking in purpose, using my voice, my platform, and my assignment to bring conversations that matter to the people. Tonight we speak truth. Tonight we stand for awareness. Tonight we ask, when will justice be for us? When will truth rise from the dust? When will families be heard? When will power honor words? We won't be silent, we won't fall. We stand in purpose, standing tall. For every name they try to hush, when will justice be for us? When will justice be for us? Queen Visionary on the mic, purpose in my soul, broadcasting from Lagos, but the mission is global. Class of 2020, I rose through the flame. Hall of Fame, intranees, still honoring his name. Host of the year, lifetime achiever elect. But titles mean nothing if the people ain't checked. When God gives a voice, he gives assignment too. So I stand in the gap and speak what's true. Tonight we talk Carmelo, Fitz, and Anthony. A case with emotions, questions, and family. This ain't about rumors, hate, or attack. It's about truth, awareness, and bringing facts back. It's about the voices they try to ignore, the names swept away behind closed doors. When will justice be for us? When will truth rise from the dust? When will families be heard? When will power honor words? We won't be silent, we won't fall. We stand in purpose, standing tall. For every name they try to hush, when will justice be for us? When will justice be for us? Too many cases brushed under rugs. Too many mothers crying, needing more than hugs. Too many families waiting for a sign while the headlines fade and the world moves blind. Justice ain't popularity, justice ain't fame. Justice should stand, no matter the name. Fair, balance, rooted in truth. Protecting the future, protecting our youth. We organize, we pray, we advocate loud. We lift every story, lost in the crowd. Not revenge, not rage, but truth must rise. With faith in our hearts and fire in our eyes. Stand up, stand up. This conversation is not about rushing judgment. It is not about misinformation. It is not about attacking anyone. It is about awareness, advocacy, community, hard questions, and standing in the gap. Hear us now. When will justice be for us? When will truth rise from the dust? When will families be heard? When will power honor words? We won't be silent, we won't fall. We stand in purpose, standing tall. For Carmelo and thousands unheard, we lift our voice, we spread the word. When will justice be for us? When will justice be for us?
Welcome, 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 y'all. We getting ready to go live. I'm currently waiting to go live on the WBNN. I want to welcome you guys tonight for another episode. Thank you for joining me on tonight. We are in for an amazing we're ready for an amazing night, y'all. So get ready, get ready, get ready. I can. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I hope tonight you are prepared for a powerful, necessary, unforgettable conversation. Tonight, we are going to be talking about Carmelo Sincere Anthony. If you've not heard about this case, I'm telling you, you don't want to miss this show tonight. This is one of the moments where you may want to grab a drink, a snack, in a comfortable place to sit. Prepare your heart and mind for a real conversation because tonight we're not just talking about headlines. We're talking about a life. We're talking about a family. We're talking about advocacy. We're talking about justice, and we're talking about community. We're talking about what happens when people refuse to be silent. So welcome to WBNN Beverly Nation. Y'all, before we jump into the show tonight, I want to personally welcome you to the greatest network on this side of the Mississippi. WBNN Beverly Nation, our 4,623rd presentation of Ngozi Time Multimedia LLC. And we're broadcasting live from Lagos, Nigeria via TalkShoe.com. I am your host, Queen Visionary Angela, and I am honored to continue to walk in purpose using my voice, my platform, and my assignment to bring conversation that matters to people. I am proud to be a part of Class of 2020, the 2023 International Internet Hall of Fame Broadcasting Enshrinee, the 2023 Anna Waddell Host of the Year, and the 2026 Lifetime Achiever Elect. But beyond every title, every honor, every recognition, I understand this, that purpose requires responsibility. When God gives us a voice, he gives us an assignment. And tonight, that assignment is to create a space for truth, advocacy, awareness, and community conversation. Tonight, again, we are discussing all things Carmelo Sincere Anthony. For those who have been following this case, you already know that emotions are high, opinions are strong, and many are watching closely. This case, like many, have bring questions to the surface. Questions about justice, questions about fairness, media narratives, community response, legal process, and how families survive while waiting for answers. This conversation is not about rushing to judgment. This conversation is not about spreading misinformation. This conversation is not about attacking anyone, but this conversation is to bring awareness. It is about advocacy. It is about community engagement, and it's about asking the hard questions. It is about standing in the gap. It is about making sure that voices connect to cases that are ignored and not recognized. Tonight, I ask you to ask this question, and this is something that weighs heavy within our community. When will justice be for us? For a long time, communities have felt unheard. For a long time, families have felt that their stories were not being told. Far too long, people have had to organize, pray, and advocate to demand that humility not be forgotten. Justice should not depend on your color, your status, your pay scale, nor popularity. Justice should depend not on pressure, but justice should depend on the fairness, balance, and rooted truth. So tonight, we're going to open the floor for conversation, reflection, and community voices. My special guest tonight is Queen Sharak from Chi-Town. I am honored to welcome Queen Sharak. She's a powerful advocate who has been standing, speaking, and fighting to support Carmelo since April 3rd of 2025. Her message has been clear. Until Carmelo comes home, we won't be moved. And the kind of commitment does not go unnoticed. It comes with conviction. It comes with love. It comes from a brief that every voice matters and that community support makes a difference. Queen Sharak has been constant. She has been present and her voice has been vocal. She has been advocating, organizing, standing firm. And tonight, she's going to join us and share her perspective, her passion, and the reason she refused to speak up. So I want you to join in the conversation tonight by calling in at 717-734-6904. Make sure you enter the access code, which is 546-1150 To enter the studio, you must press £1. And to join the conversation live on air, you must press *2. Know that your voice matter, your presence matter, and your perspective matter because this is a conversation that is definitely needed to be had. So join us in welcoming my special guest tonight, Queen Sharak from Shy City, Illinois. Sharak, how are you? I'm great. I can't complain. I can't complain. Before we jump in this conversation about Carmelo, Sincere Anthony, I want you to share with the listening audience who you are.
And for children, I'm a PTO president of my daughter's school, my son, a local school council. I love kids and I care about what's going on with our youth. And it's a lot of things up against them right now. From, from what Trump is doing in the White House to what's going on in their community, gun violence. So it's hitting them from all sides. So somebody needs to be able to stand up and say, enough is enough, and how do we fix this?
Is it?
And that's where I come in at. So I've just always been into the kids. I feel those that our kids are under attack, and it's not fair.
Well, I definitely want to applaud you and take my hat off to you for the things that you do in the community and how you give back to our kids because they are our future. And that's one thing that I am passionate about is about our babies and our elderly people and our babies. And thank you for all that you do. I have watched you on TikTok as you have been on many platforms, even hosting your own panel. And I hear you sharing, and I hear the passion in your voice. I want to know for those that may be hearing about Carmelo Sincere Anthony, they may be just hearing his name for the first time. I want you to tell people what you think that they need to know about this case and what they need to know about Carmelo, if you would.
What they truly need to know about this case is definitely about race. It is a racial case. There are so many elements from political figures such as Pat Fowler that whose children go to a Frisco ISD school with the Metcalf twins and are friends with them. From the overall narrative that's been painted that Carmelo is a troublemaker, he doesn't follow rules. It is very disheartening to hear what I'm hearing about our TikTok nephew, as we call him. Carmelo Sincere Anthony is a excellent student at 3.8, 3.9 GPO, GPA. He's the captain of the track team, captain of the football team. He saved a young girl's life in his hometown of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and that is not the kind of structure of a troublemaker in my eyes. Carmelo just did what any child would do. He was trying to get out of the rain, and the other two boys made it into a big deal as if they were the tent police. And now one boy lost his life, and I don't blame Carmelo what he had to do to make it back home to his family at the end of the day because he did what he needed to do, and that was handle business. It may not have been right to how people feel, Your feelings are valid, but at the same time, you can't tell anybody in that situation until it happens to you.
Exactly. We don't know what was going through Carmelo's mind because going through the trial, we found out that not only did he have the shoulder injury, but Carmelo was epileptic and he had had previous seizure and had to be hospitalized. So knowing that, we know that stress can bring on seizures. We know that certain hits and different things can cause these seizures. So I can say that this baby was concerned. He could have been concerned, but we don't know what was going through his mind. But to say that someone has the right to police another child, you are a child. You have no right to tell another child what they can or cannot do. And in many cases, go get an adult. Go get someone of authority that has that power that can. We know that Carmelo is not a combative child. We know that earlier in that day that he had been asked to move from a another location by an adult, and he did with no backlash, no nothing. He simply got his things and he moved. So I feel like if they had have done that, we wouldn't have been here today. But everything happens for a reason. I like Tamika always say, those four big burly Buster thugs walked up to him on that day looking for trouble. Because we've seen the video, we've seen the clip, and we saw how they came up and they approached Carmelo. But yet people will continue to say that he was the aggressor. How was he the aggressor when he was sitting down? I don't
And
understand.
I'm glad that you brought up the video. Now I want to make this very clear to people that's listening. Listening, the video that was released on Juneteenth was to patrify Black people,
Mhm.
because that is not the video that people in our community, our little TikTok family, that is not the video that they had to sign up at Frisco ISD. They had to sit on the list and be selected to go to Frisco ISD to see the video for themselves. And for the people that did go see the video, they have told us that is totally not what happened. That video that they showed on Juneteenth has been clipped so many times. You can see the overlays in the video. They originally, people were saying that the video was grainy, so they put a video together to say, okay, you all said it was grainy. We're gonna show you what grainy looks like. So that's why they put out that video to try to patronize us into saying, oh well, now we see what happened. Now we see that he did it. So that is where the problem lies. All the lies that have been told in this case, and that boy has been railroaded and basically publicly lynched.
But even with that altered video, you were still, because we don't play when it comes to Carmelo. And we looked at that video and so many people looked at that video and we discovered so many things about that video. We saw the overlay, we saw the double people, we saw the missing poles, we saw all kind of stuff that we know that it had been altered. And the more and more we watched it, the more and more we discovered different things that showed that it had been altered. But even with the alterations, you could clearly see that they approached Carmelo, which they said that they did not do. But we saw them approach Carmelo. We saw them go up under that tent. And even after Carmelo left the tent, they were still fighting up under the tent. So there was a lot going on up under that tent. And we saw a lot from that video that was not brought up, that was not talked about, was not investigated. I mean, it was just so much. But I want to ask you a question. Why do you think that so many cases do not receive the national attention, like Carmelo's case, and is ignored, forgotten, and buried? But this case made national. It made global news because we had people coming on our panels from Africa. We had people coming on our panel from the UK. We had people coming on from all parts, even Australia, to talk about this case and to debate about this case. So what is your perspective on why cases like this do not reach national, and why we have so many um, of us inside prison right now, wrongfully and overly incarcerated because they were too railroaded, like Carmelo.
I feel as though that in certain cases we don't make as much noise as others. What I mean by that is you saw with George Floyd that the black community, we came together in droves for George Floyd, and we came together in droves for Laquan McDonald. And if we don't make enough noise about it, they just feel as though they can sweep us under the rug. So we've got to be loud and vocal. And we got so loud in this case that we got the judge talking about us. Social media this and social media that. So I think that social media has been both a blessing and a curse for this trial, and two, because they were listening to us. Some of the topics and things that we touched on and we debated this case for 18 months. And for 18 months, we've gone against the cops, and we've had people telling us that, oh, it wasn't like that, and he didn't do this, and why did he have to come? We did, most cases don't get that much noise. We made so much noise about Carmelo that it was hard to contain us. We've been vocal from TikTok all the way to Twitter. We've been vocal all the way to Facebook. So we got so vocal, it was hard to touch us. So I think that's what we need to do with all cases, especially when it comes to us. Now, we're not saying, if you can clearly see that that person has guilt and the case looks like, we're not saying make a big fuss, but the cases that involve the children or involve the vulnerable, we need to make a big enough noise. There should be no reason that the young baby in what was that, Alabama, Torrance Wiley, you don't hear about his case anymore. We need to make these cases more vocal.
So for this case, in a couple of cases that we have been working on, what role do you think media coverage played in shaping the public opinion before all the facts were fully understood? Because we know what happened on TikTok over these last 18 months, that there has been a lot happening on these panels. People have went to jail. People have been doxxed. It's just so much has happened. Um, so what role do you think media coverage plays in shaping the public opinion?
Media coverage played a big role. Most of the big media companies right now that we know are MAGA has made this case very racial from the very start, from the interview that they did between Hunter and his mom in the beginning, the alterations to the interviews that they did, and they just pulled on their sympathy from people. Oh, these were good boys, and Austin was the star athlete, and he didn't deserve. No, you all didn't tell the real truth, so now it's coming out. Those boys were monsters. But of course, they're always going to smear the young black boy who's a straight A student, never been in trouble, had two jobs, and kept an A average, and got his first car at 16. You're going to paint him out to be the hardened thug. Even from the mugshot video, the mugshot pictures, they altered Carmelo's mugshot to make him look like he was a hardened criminal. So media has played a big role in this case on smearing Carmelo to paint him out as America's nightmare.
And not only that, we know the day after, even the day of this incident, the victim's family took to social media. They took to the media the very same day to put out this narrative about Carmelo. They spreaded the narrative that Carmelo came from a broken family. They spreaded the narrative of all sorts of stuff. In reality, everything that they said was a reflection of their own lives when their kids were the ones that came from the broken home. Their kids were the ones that were bullies, known bullies within the community. And as we have been going through this retrial, this motion for a retrial and the recusal of Judge Roach, Cockroach, we've learned so much that was withheld during the previous trial about Carmelo. Not Carmelo, but about the twins that could have helped Carmelo in this case, which was just disheartening. I want to know from your advocacy and the things that you have done in the communities that we are a part of on TikTok. How do you think communities can make sure that cases like Carmelo do not disappear from public conversation? Because we currently have another case, the Nolan Wells case, and we have seen that some of these cases have they come up and then they dwindled away, because I don't hear people talking about Daryl Lowry. I don't hear people talking about Daniel Irvin, who was drowned in Dallas, Texas. Two white kids, one and they were only charged with tampering with evidence. Um, who was it? The one in McCormick, South Carolina. Daryl Lowry, 13 years old, had only been in that foster care for 12 hours. That baby was stabbed and held under the water until he drowned by two white kids. You don't hear conversation about those. You don't hear conversation about those. But I
Ended up in a town one day, I go, and here, and I just sat back in the room for a while and I listened. And then I went online and started doing my own research. So when you hear these names, I look them up. You hear them, look them up. And you're like, okay, that's what that is. That's who that is. And you piece together all the information that you need to build up the case for your own understanding. And then you find your areas, whether it be TikTok, whether it be Instagram or Facebook, you find your area and you sit back and you watch, and then the more comfortable that you get, that's how you engage and you make a big fuss and be like, hey, we need to put this out here. So find like minded people like yourself to come together and you all form that bond and you all can talk about these cases and put them out in the open and make them, more relevant than what they would seem to people that aren't us.
right. So, what is advice that you would give the listeners that are tuned in about families that are fighting for justice? What type of support would you say that they could offer a family that is going through something as a community to rally around those families?
I would seriously tell them don't be afraid to use social media as a tool. Don't go to the mainstream media. You're not going to find any like-minded people that think like you because they're biased and they all think that, oh, well, all black folks are the same. So find you an avenue, whether make a post on TikTok, make a post on Facebook, make those posts and put it out there so they can get traction and be shared out all across the globe and get people talking. Um, Case in point, Nolan Wells' mother, Miss Christine. Miss Christine posts almost every day. Not even just about Nolan. She posts her own content. So she's putting it out there. Hey, I need help with this. Please, if you have any information, and it'll draw people in to get them to see, hey, this is something that's a big problem right now that we need to focus on. Let's see if we can help and share it out. Get people, other like-minded people, and start your own panel and say, hey, I've got this information. I want to talk about this. Draw in people that will push out things tremendously for your situation and find you possibly an advocate who is willing to help you. 50
Right.
billion Tiffany Billions has done wonders for the Anthony family. She is the one that discovered that there was a video from Frisco ISD after they lied to the Anthony family and told them that there was no video.
She's one of the names that they keep calling out inside of that courtroom. They mad with Tiffany right now, and they've been dragging her inside that courtroom. King Cass, it's just like when you got a voice and when you're willing to speak up and speak out, they don't like you. They say they call us the disruptors. They say that we over here on TikTok. Well, y'all know I sit down in the comments. I only come up sometime when they want me to pray. I'll send information in the back, but I hardly come up on the panels. But I support from down in the chat. I send my little coins. I send my little gifts and just support and encourage from down in the comments. But I appreciate everything that y'all do. I support a lot of different panels. I have to give a shout out to my little brother, TikTok governor, who is also from South Carolina. We are from the same area in South Carolina. He's from one town and I'm from a town. Well, I'm from two towns over, but we freaking some of the same areas. And he does an amazing job over there bringing information and allowing a platform for individuals that want to come up and talk facts about the case. And one thing I love about you guys is y'all are fact based panels. Y'all don't want nobody coming up with their opinions. Y'all don't want nobody coming up with what they think. If it's not factual, we ain't hearing it. And that's what I love about a lot of you guys over there on TikTok. And I have to give a shout out to all of those that have been going. You know, we were stretched out this week because there were a couple of cases. There were two other cases that were having court appearances this week. So there was three cases that we have been advocating. Bug down in Alabama. There was a group that went down to support Bug and his family, and then you had we're having a rally. There's going to be a rally tomorrow down in Mississippi for Nolan. We have some panelists and some advocates that are going down to support the Wells family. So I'm just so proud of all of you guys for the work that you put in. I'm telling you, these are some 24-hour, 7 days a week, 365-day advocates. They don't stop. No matter what they're going through, they are going to advocate. They're going to push through whatever they're going through. They taking care of families. They're taking care of businesses. They're making sure that they do everything that they're supposed to do, and they're coming on these panels and sharing. So I applaud all of you guys for everything that you do. I am so proud of you guys. I give my hats off and I pray for you guys constantly for what you do.
And appreciate that you are hearing this when we going off of somebody and we just telling it the hard truth. But I do want to make sure that I shout out, like you said, the TikTok governor, constitutional. He's always on us, but he is nothing but factual because that's all we want to tell is the facts because we don't want to push the narrative that we're, favoring any one party. No, that's not what we do. Everything is fact based. If you don't like the facts, then we will tell you to get out and try another channel that suits you. But I do want to say to what's going on in the courtroom as far as Tiffany Williams and King Cass is concerned, the person that should be called out should be Sarah Fields.
Yes,
Sarah Fields not only got the Anthony 3 times, she was working in concert with Melanie Stoller in Frisco, Collin County District Court building. Melanie Stoller is the one who said Sarah Fields her information. And we also want to shine the light on Jeff Metcalf, the racist who set up and called Carmelo the watermelon son. But it's not just so that. Jeff Metcalf has shown that he is truly a racist against us. But he's also shown that he's very much against himself in a way when you basically went on TV and told the truth. about what your children did, and nobody believed you. But that was the hard and truth that your sons assaulted Carmelo Anthony on April 2nd, 2025, and you were okay with that because of the type of man you are. And Jeff Van Cass is another reason why this case has gotten massive media attention because of the people that he chose to do interviews with, such as Fox for pushing the Christian national agenda. So, Jeff Metcalf, if this has not gone the way that you would have liked, maybe you should have cut your mouth shut.
Not to mention Will Kane. Oh, we're gonna put them out there today. We're gonna put them all out there today. Will Kane. You got Congressman Pat Fallon. All of them had their hands in that. He wanted to fly the flag half step for someone that was a bully, someone that at age 10 beating up kids and doing racial slurs. We don't want to talk about that. Slurs of the alphabets and all of that, and calling people the N word and all of that. And not only that, being put on probation and beating up their parents. Like those are the kids that you want to recognize by flying the flag half step. I keep saying I hate that a life was lost, but you know what the word this if you live by the sword, you what? You die by the sword.
That about the sword.
So how you live in this world is how you gonna die. And if if Jeff and Megan don't get Hunter together, because Hunter has gotten away with this, because we know that Hunter was the aggressor. But they tried to do everything in their power to point the narrative to their unalive son, to say that Hunter didn't have anything to do with this. If Hunter had minded his own business, went on about his own business, his brother may have still be here, because they wouldn't have approached Carmelo and it never would have happened. So sometimes you got to think about what you're doing and what your kids are doing. Because if you can send a child to counseling, they can go to a 12-step program within a church and still learn nothing. Then you got to look at what you're doing, what you're pouring into your kids, and what you're putting them around. Maybe you need to try something else. Maybe you need to get some real professional help, because there's evidently is a problem. And if the problem's not addressed, just because he's gone off to college, let me tell you, we see what happened in the Kendrick Johnson case. The kids that were labeled in that case that nothing never happened. The young man, the main perpetrator that they named in that case that was never arrested, went on off to college and got involved in some more stuff and was arrested. So if you don't deal with them, if you don't take care of it, it's gonna happen again. He is going to come up on somebody, and he's going to try those bullying tactics that he's tried with all of these other kids that he's terrorized in Frisco, Collin County, because there's a lot of kids that don't have nothing good to say, nor the parents have good to say about those twins, nor their parents. And for them to have terrorized kids like that, it's that he gonna do the same thing out there at the University of Arkansas. And I want to do the University of Arkansas know of the record that he has. Know that he's been on. I think we need to find out. I think we need to find out.
I think we need to get
Some letters need to be wrote.
right. And the fact that they have racist ideologies, we're talking 10 years old people, they
Hmm.
were put on probation for racist vandalism, saying to unalive black people and saluting to Hitler of all people. So that's not taught behavior. That's taught behavior, but it doesn't come from out the womb. You have to be raised like that. I mean, Grandpa did call Drew Anthony the N word
Hmm.
when he went over to apologize and tell him how sorry he was for their loss. And you called that black man, you told him, get away from me, N word. That's what you told him.
And then the daddy get on
So,
TikTok and on a panel for 15 hours, ranting and raving, and throwing out the N word, called a black female A N loving B. A N loving B.
And
Oh, I forgot about the whore.
and he he made did a rounds after that interview. I'm not gonna lie, he made quite a few rounds after that. It was ridiculous, and Jeff Van Cast has been on a rant ever since. And I find it funny that all the blood money that was made off of Austin is going towards um a false, startup of a nonprofit in his son's name.
Hmm.
And from what mommy Megan says that Hunter didn't get as much money as he was hoping for because it's been put in a trust until he turns 30. So he wasn't quite happy about that.
Well, he did get a new truck. He got a 2026 nice truck, and they say they got it souped up for him. $100,000 worth of truck, they say. And then Megan got a 8 bedroom house. Jeff got a house. All of that from three GoFundMe's, Give, Send, Goes, or whatever. But then they rat and rave because we raised $653,000 for the Anthonys that we know went to Mike Howard and Toby Shooks. They were not able to buy no house and no car. Matter of fact, I think they had to sell a car. And not to mention that they had to move 3 times.
They weren't able over the summer because that's what Hunter was for the summer. Him and his friends went to Italy. So Jeff had said he had just came from out of the country. Why? You were aiding and abetting your son. You were trying to hide him during the trial. Oh, Hunter didn't want to come. Why? Because he feels guilty. He is guilty. If he wouldn't have minded Carmelo's business, I would have said, you know what? Leave him alone. He's trying to get out the rain. He's not bothering anybody. He sat there for 10 minutes before they walked up. 10 minutes sitting by himself, not causing a stir to anybody. And here comes these two. And now all of a sudden it's a problem that he's sitting there. Carmelo Anthony had every right to sit there. There is no doubt about that in my mind. He was not bothering the troll. All he wanted to do was get out of the rain, and I don't think that getting out of the rain is a crime
It's
at
not.
all.
And not only that, he was invited. He was invited by Eddie P, his friend. Well, his so-called friend, Eddie P.
A snake. He was invited by a snake, who more than likely, I believe Eddie Carter set that up. Because there was something. Why? Is it that you wanted Carmelo's girlfriend? Is that what this was about? This was over a little high school crush. You wanted his girlfriend. Or is there something that you felt that Carmelo had that you couldn't obtain? It has to be something because there is no way you just automatically think this up. But I would like to know, finally, after all of this, we never got the autopsy report on Austin Metcalf, but
Hmm.
there were two done. So my question is, Jeff, what was wrong with the first autopsy that you had it redone? Was it something in your son's system that you didn't like?
Hmm. Hmm. Why do people normally get a second autopsy? Toxicology report. Because they don't like what is in the first one.
Yeah, something in that autopsy that.
Well, we know what the rumors are. We know what the rumors are, but we're not gonna spread misinformation. So we gonna let that we gonna let that stay right where it's at. But we know. We know what our speculations are, but since we're not a outlet that spreads speculations, we gonna let it go. But Jeff, why you had to get a second toxicology report? Why was it necessary? Why was it necessary? That's what we want to know. Why was it necessary? Well, guess what? We have our first caller in queue, Charette. So we're gonna invite our first caller on. Caller number one. Where are you calling from and what's your name?
uh, He's not we need to have more of these shows. You know, you guys are hitting it right on the nail. Uh, and I just want to add, listening to the bill, it's money and power. You know, is the division, and we 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 come a long way throughout history, but we have to be realistic. Racism is very real. It is a behavior, and while I'm listening to you young ladies speak, I'm like, this is just, you know, someone I'm picturing stature, money, and influence, and that can trump everything. So, and usually individuals like that, they teach their kids, you're invincible. You can use the lingo. You can, get away where cover the wrong because you teach them to have that power, hatred, as if others are beneath you, degrade you. You made the point that he was invited by friends, and I tell a lot of kids within the same racial background, not everyone that comes in your face is your friend. And when you have people things you have in their life, whether black or white, they'll put you up in situations that you are. Now, when we add maybe racial discrimination or hatred, it can be deadly because it's like, I want to teach you a lesson, right? You're beneath me and I can get away with it. Just when I'm hearing this and you're asking the questions like, why aren't all these cases? And I'll say a million times, unfortunately, technology, I keep on you ladies stated that it's it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. You have for people have to understand that true journalism is a loss. True journalism was just, as you guys stated, undepicted the fact that you destroy yourself. I find that a lot of these people, excuse me, they're treated to certain certain hierarchy, to persuade on anyone. And we have to be mindful. And I will please ever advocate with this statement. If individuals are such stature when they've done something wrong and they know they're in the wrong, it's almost like the red child's life is not, like saying, we have the money, the power, we have the connection for the on the autopsy to for evidence or omitting evidence, but within ourselves sometimes I hear people say that in our whole community when something happens, and you think, no, oh, you're gonna find out he probably was a sneaky fool, he had drugs, and they're not telling the whole story to protect them. So we ourselves have our own preconceived notions when it comes to certain things. If a child got shot, we must have been into something. We ourselves have to get back to drawing defining lines, which goes back to going back to community. It works out in our, we have that expectation about the young kids. You know, they definitely play that. And the other thing is, we no longer have a lot of people within churches, like certain, NAACP, which, a lot of people these days are like, they become just an entity for the white people. They don't go, they don't advocate in interest. They're not fit, and they work at. So when you are dealing with people of hierarchy that has money, and you could be all the way right, and you like resources, it's almost like your cry goes on, ears. And you have people with the same issues and so forth. Like, I want to make up advocacy. people use this platform. There's so many platforms with thousands of people on each. And some have overwhelming evidence, and others don't have the paper trail. But it is known that this happens. But like, who no one's willing to take it on a higher level. It's almost like it's it's okay. You're not governed by entropy. We do full documentation. So where do you go from then? We do have the power of the internet, but where are the real leaders in the community? Like for me, I say being an attorney is a must. And I say that because attorneys today, their bottom line is for making alignments in courtrooms that they sit in every day. Whether they win or lose their case, they're still getting paid to sue you know? And I feel that when an attorney swears in their first obligation is to the court, not you. Where are the real lawyers and for people?
Well, I want to share with you. I hear what you're saying, but I can say that Al Sharpton, Ben Crump, they have been involved in the Nolan Wells case, as well as some of the other cases that we have been advocating for. So they may not step up all the time, but I can say this time. They have stepped up with the Nolan Wells case, as well as the Daniel Irvin case out of Dallas, Texas. And there's another case out of Kentucky. I'm not real versed on that one, but there's another case out of Kentucky that they are involved in, and they are yet working. But yeah, we do need more people to. But we do need more people. We do need more people to step up. But that's why we have people like the people that are on these platforms, people like Charette, people like TikTok Governor. He's a legal aid. He's not a lawyer, but he's a high legal aid that has been working in the field for over 20 years that advocate. When you have people that are advocates that are it's in their heart and it's not about money. I have a young lady that just sit for the bar in Texas. She just took the bar. She's waiting for her results, and she did this because of what happened to her in middle school. And it's not about money for her, but it's about fairness. It is about our people, our community. And when you find people that have see, people got to have a heart for what they do. A lot of us we get involved in professions and we go to school for different things because we want to make money. But I tell people all the time, it's gonna be a day when money ain't gonna matter, but what you are at what's in your heart and what you do for your community and your people around you matter because God will use those gifts and those talents, and He said He will make room for you. So you got to realize what your gift and your talent is, and not want to be about the money. But see, a lot of us we get caught up in these social classes. We get caught up in a lot of things around us, trying to keep up with the Joneses and trying to keep up with everybody else instead of walking in that we have been called to.
It's that, some of us, we might have exhausted our understanding college or finance. I would love to see some entrepreneurship in our community with kids. But I would love for, let's say, an individual, if there was a way for us to train one of them, the ones who are really in it for the life, that you know, because you have someone can go and I advocate, I can target on my back, but I don't have a degree, even though I can stand there and then they play on it. And so I'm like, I wish there was like a program, like, in term where like we can have these apprentices because I believe they have something in the court. And things for AACU, they can sit in the courtroom and be whistleblowers in the sense.
I mean, there's a lot of different things that you can do to get involved in learning laws, learning things about what's going on within your community. I know I go and I sit in on these mock trials at a law firm here in Myrtle Beach. They do studies, and these people actually take what we do inside of those mock trials and those mock studies and use them towards their cases. They truly want to know your opinion. You don't always have to have a law degree, because you look at a lot of these people that are advocating over here on TikTok, they're sitting on these panels. They can go inside the courtroom and they probably could have did better than Carmelo's attorneys in handling this case. Sherette could have went up there and defended Carmelo better than Michael Howard and Toby Schultz. And a lot of them that sit over there on those panels, and not one of them have a law degree. We got a couple people that have law degrees.
Is a legal analyst. So therefore, his legal knowledge is what he's been giving us, and that's why they followed us so hard for 18 months. Because
Right.
that's why they referenced social media, because we were spot on. And none of us knew the law before we started this, but I feel as though you have to be sick and tired to be an advocate. I'm gonna
Well,
repeat it.
Yolanda, I want to thank you for Yolanda is our deputy commissioner here on the WBNN. I want to thank you for pressing star two to join the conversation. If you would please tell everybody when your next show is.
And I just ask, would you guys be able to get that information, because where you guys are associated with, is there a way for the listening audience to touch base with individuals like that? Right? Because I'm in Philly and they'll let you know, hey, we can't give you advice, and, or even though, like, as an attorney, so is there any resources to get that same kind of support, maybe nationwide, or to the listener here? So they can be given. I seriously believe that TikTok is the key, because we're all scattered over the country. So we can most definitely share TikTok governors information with the listeners, and man, come on in and join us, because he goes live every single day for the most part, and we love having new people that have an open mind that is willing to learn. So that is one avenue, and just bounce around from channels. I'm telling you, I've never been on TikTok more than I did in the last 18 months. It's been almost my whole entire life on TikTok, really, just by bouncing from channel to channel and listening to different outlooks on different cases. And you
Exactly.
meet a lot of people along the way.
I don't even watch TV. I don't listen to the news. I get most of my news from TikTok. I go to panels that I know are spreading facts, and I listen. There's panels over there that talks about political things. There are people over there talking about different cases. They're talking about things that are happening within the community. It is a lot. You just have to pick, the panel that you want to be a part of, and just jump on and get the insight. There's so many people. When I tell you there's so many people, like she say, there's lawyers, there's paralegals, they're legal analysts, they're people in law school, they're nurses, they're nurse practitioners. I mean, there's so many people that make up these panels, so you get different perspectives. We even have psychologists on there. We have people that operate in different avenues within the medical field. We even have people that have done that have done autopsies. They were able to talk about autopsies and different things as we talked about these different cases. So I tell you, it's a diverse, and you can learn a lot, and then you can share your expertise. We are open panels, and like Sharek say, we go from panel to panel. A lot of us, you'll see a lot of us around on the same panels. A lot of us frequent the same panels because it's just a network of everybody just doing what they do and sharing their expertise. But again, I want to thank you for, pressing that star two. If you want to, reach out to one of us, stick around, and we will share our contact information, at the end of the show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, ladies. And continue to do what it is that you do, and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Yes. So, Sharette, to get back to our kids, because I am noticing the patterns of what is happening within the judicial system. Most of the kids, if you look at the statistics of the age of kids that are being arrested, a lot of the prison system is made up of 30 and under. And I want to get your opinion. Do you believe that there's a pattern, um, certain youth being judged, labeled, even forgotten when things happen to them? Because there are so many people that are wrongfully and overly incarcerated sitting behind those prison walls.
I think that the from school to prison pipeline is definitely active, and it's more so stuff getting left behind, and we're the ones that are mostly between us and the Hispanic community. We're the ones that are 9 times more likely to be incarcerated before the age of 18. So, with that being said, I feel as though that we are over policed, and our circumstances is we don't have enough avenues. There's not enough housing. There's not enough jobs to sustain our youth. So when you have to rob Peter to pay Paul, that's going to put you in situations that it shouldn't, and it shouldn't be like that. Everybody should be able to live and eat and take care of their children, but unfortunately, that is not the case with the current political climate. We know the Republicans have taken SNAP benefits. We know in November the work requirement for Medicaid kicks in. So a lot of people are at a disadvantage. So when you don't have the resources to take care of home, it's going to put you in situations. And half the time, it's just not even so much you did anything. It's okay, you fit the description. What do you mean I fit the description? So I believe it's a lot of racial tension in policing, and that's what's putting our youth in danger.
Wow. So, another question I have, um, we advocate and we use social media as a platform. What are some of the things that people can do with social media besides posting, to bring awareness to a lot of these cases that are being overlooked?
Start panel. Create your own panel. I run a panel myself. I have not gotten into it as much as I did in the beginning because we got a lot of harassment from the Medcalf supporters to the point where it got dangerous. So I had pulled back on hosting my panel for a while, but when the case went to trial, I most definitely got back on and did panels of my own. So hosting panels, I mean, even if you get 5 people in your room, 5 people tell another 5, and you get 10, and that's how basically the system of um, TikTok works. So I believe you can host panels, you can make videos and post them to get the traction that you want. Besides using TikTok, use other social media platforms like Instagram. If you have, excuse me, YouTube, use YouTube. That is a very good avenue because your YouTube is worldwide. So therefore, you will be able to put it out there, whatever message that you are trying to put forth. If the MAGA supporters can get this base of all the support that they get, all the nonsense and harmful rhetoric that they speak. Imagine what we as a collective could do if we all started hosting panels and we got people to say, hey, they're trying to change things. We need to listen up and maybe we can follow in their footsteps. As well as podcasts. There are a lot of black podcasts right now. There's one here that I follow. Shout out to the group Jam, four young African American boys from my city of Chicago that host a very well known podcast around the country. And their podcast is literally fire. They touch on everything from our politics at home to the political climate as it is everywhere else, and they touch on cases such as Carmelo Anthony and Nola Wells and other cases that don't get much traction from the local media. So that is how you can get involved and make your voice heard. Or post flyers in your neighborhood and say, hey, I want to get together, I want us to have a meeting, and I want us to bring up some suggestions of how do we fix this. So there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. You just have to find an avenue that works for you.
Wow. So over the last 2 days, we had, well, last 3 days, because Wednesday was a very important day for a lot of the supporters, Carmelo supporters. Carmelo went in for a motion to have the judge that sentenced him recused, and he was successful in getting Judge Roach recused. And the very next day, he went before Judge, what's his name?
Judge, the first
Heidi. Yeah, he was the one that recused. And
city who came out of handle today's proceedings and yesterday. I am thankful to Sid Hall for recusing Judge Roach needed to be gone. There was a lot of mishaps that happened with him as over the court, so I am glad that he is gone, and I am anxious and prayed up for a vacated sentence or even a new trial. But I feel as though a vacate is what will be the outcome.
well, we would definitely. I heard that we'll know tomorrow. What do you think? You think we are going to know tomorrow, or they're going to make us wait all the way to Monday?
I feel like the judge, from what we heard from people that were in the courtroom, shout out to our people that went to court for the last few days, and shout out to y'all that went to court back in June. I unfortunately did not make it to Texas, but I am glad that we had our people there as the United Front. So I heard bits and pieces that it might be tomorrow, but I'm hoping for Monday, so that the judge has a clear mind and a clear vision to what was truly done wrong in this case. And I'm hoping that he follows the lay of the land as far as the law is concerned, and he grants Carmelo his new trial, or he just vacates our nephew's sentence and Carmelo is coming home. That's what I originally think. But if he does tomorrow, considering that Monday is the deadline for this issue to be rectified, if we don't hear anything Monday, that is when we go to Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals and we go for the appeal route. But hopefully it'll be tomorrow, but I'm hoping Monday.
Well, I'm hoping Russell Wilson will get that email, and that email will be good news for Carmelo and his family, because this baby was truly railroad. When self-defense become a crime, it says something. And even the governor, Hot Wheels, even said something about this case. You know, even though he didn't speak up and try to help rectify it, he did say something about it. He said never has he seen someone that was not the aggressor not be able to use self defense. He actually made a video on YouTube. So that kind of surprised me. But the fact that he spoke up about that, it lets me know that there are still some people out there that see the law for really what it is. And I truly think that the judge Shitty, Shitey. I can't say his name, and I don't want to be saying it wrong. But Judge Michael, will do right. I think from what we have heard and what we have seen throughout these last 2 days, he has been very fair. He has been about the law, and from my understanding, they say he have been taking a lot of notes, and he have been watching and listening. And when you can watch and listen, I think he's going to be fair. Well, we have caller number 2 in queue. Caller number 2, if you could, please tell me where you're calling from and state your name.
Hey, Pete. So I'm currently calling from Houston, Texas. My travel name is Huni Bar Cartoon, and my pen and stage name is Master. So Magic Man Haru. How you doing? Spiritual daughter of mine and special honored guest. Uh, wow, what a show, what a show, what a show. But I don't expect anything less from one of the best that has ever done it when it came to broadcast radio. If you don't mind, I'm going to add on to the build right quick.
Go ahead.
Our biggest issue comes from the people who look just like you and I. You know, you're thinking, over the airwaves, so I can't see you. Can't see any one of y'all, right? But we have been misled to believe that the Caucasians have all of this power, right? We can't do anything about it. Well, I was still condemned because the ones who have put them in power is the same type of people that won't stand together for our overall liberation. These are the same people that feel comfortable not passing any bill pertaining to us. These are the people that put the hell man in his time in the forefront. Now, don't misread it because you got a lot of them generational. Right? Because then, one like we know that there's a weakness amongst all humans and living beings. You know it. You know that. And this is why the father of the evil one have been hiding in the shadow. And that's why I'm here. Because pull them up out of the shadow. Because see, they've been led in their silence and been given our life and making things so difficult for us. God is empty. And it starts with things just like this here. When you look at all of the people who, in their right state of mind, who keep trying to organize for that community for a minute. Right? They appear to be separated, right? Whether they're lesbian, gay, transgender, and all this part of the alphabet, right? But any time that you come after any one of them, you're coming after all of them.
Mm-hmm.
If we get to the point where we take that same approach, see, first of all, I'm almost done. There is no child of mine that you can ever pay me in commerce if you take one of mine. The only thing that you're going to pay me is the ultimate price for it. Anyway, I'm a host of this great company. That's WBNN. I had a show last night. My next show will be 30 evenings. Well, actually, a little bit less than that. Revealed September 11th, 911, where I do my Bourdain Unleashed. You know what it's called? Where the daughter, you're gonna love this. I'll hold you come on as a real player. It's called an angel research. It's the same thing that you're doing to one of the most brilliant, talented, and beautiful daughter of ours. This is what you're doing to her. Because all the things that you say about her is all the things they have been saying about us as a people. And I feel a little bit more beans before I sign off. You want to know who the main people that has been coming after was like Angel Reese, one of the greatest to ever incarnate, to be living amongst us, one of the greatest examples that little black girls and all other, children, right? But especially little black girls, right? Have came forth, and you want to know who the main people that have been giving this young lady 18 double hockey sticks. Five people is the people that should be the main ones who support me. But you know what? Y'all ain't heard nothing yet. You come back September 11th. All of these little black boys, I'm doing my best to be friends on your show. But these little black boys, if you're not men, whether you Jason Whitlock, whether you Emmanuel Ocho, all of y'all, who come out in the public and say all kind of disgusting things for your little white friends, I'm going to find you. I said before, I'm going to find you. Certain things that you can't do with me, you're not going to be able to see me on. You won't be able to laugh it off. And I'm glad you did that because you went public. You said all these things in public.
Mm-hmm.
It's time for you, all of you, to pay the ultimate price for it.
Well, Hoonie, before you go, can you share exactly who you are?
Yes, I am, an International Internet Radio Hall of Famer and Lifetime Achiever, two-time host of the year of our great company. I've also been part of a ministry for well over 41 years called Operation Nighthawk and Operation Takeover.
And let me tell you what we call those people that you're talking about that look like us, but really not for us. Over on TikTok, we call them coconuts and coons. We have experienced a lot of them with this case that all of the cases that we've advocated for. There's so many of them that look like us. We call them, what we call them? Kin folks, not skin folks. Skin folks, not kin folks. That's what they are.
And anybody that is messing with my beautiful, beautiful sister, that Angel Reese, I love Angel Reese. My family loves Angel Reese. I was very heartbroken when she left Chicago with the Sky. I was heartbroken, but I still support that woman with all my heart. And my mother just bought her Barbie doll. So we are very much Angel Reese in this house. So anybody that is slandering her, especially being a black person that is slandering her, you should be ashamed of yourself because that woman is nothing but a role model to these little black girls that are looking up to her. And you all pinned her and what's her name, Caitlyn, against each other, and you all sided with Caitlyn Clark for the longest. It's time to give Angel Reese her flowers.
I know that's right. But I tell you, um, that there's a lot of people that look like you, but they definitely are not for you. We've experienced that firsthand, advocating for Carmelo. Now we're experiencing it again over with the Nolan Wells case. It's just mind boggling how some of these people think and how they act. Um, it's just weird. So I got a question for you. When we say, when will justice be for us? What does that question personally mean to you?
Oh, we and then to go with like our ancestors, we fight like hell for it. Our ancestors fought and bled and they died for the rights that we have. So we can't let the sacrifice go in gray. I'd rather live on my back than die on my knees. And I refuse to bow down to anybody. So that is what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to stand up and we're going to have to fight back. I don't mean physically fight, but I will physically fight if you talk about harming me or my child or my family. I will fight like hell against you. But we've got to stand up and fight. Don't sit back and be timid and not let your voice heard. Speak out for injustice. Speak out what's wrong. If you see something in the political policing term, if you see something, say something. If you see a little black boy being harassed by the police, you need to pull out your phone. Hey, what y'all doing? Hey, kid, what you doing? You all need to start speaking up. Say something. Don't be docile. That's the problem. We've bowed to the white man for too long, and now we have to take that power back.
Exactly. We give too much power to that have no power. You know, we give too much credit to other people that really have no control over us. We have come a long way, but yet we still allow people that have no control over us to have control. I tell people that all the time. You know, you are the change that you want to see in this world. I say it over and over. I am the change that I desire to see in this world. If I won't change, I know that I have to be that change. I can't expect somebody else to do what I want done in this world. I have to get out here and do it. And when you don't see something that is being done, like I didn't see a platform. I saw things that needed to be done. I asked people to do things and was getting no assistance. So, I made a way. I made platforms. I built platforms. I built opportunity for other people to be able to have a voice. I'm grateful for the opportunity that I have here on this network. I've been on this network now for 6 years. I celebrated 6 years in May. Was given an opportunity to have a voice, to be able to allow my voice to speak and be able to bring other people on that may think that they didn't have a voice nor a purpose, but for them to realize that their voice is needed, that their gifts and their talents are needed within this world, and to be able to build my own platform. Since joining this network, I have started a podcast of my own. We're getting ready to go into our fifth season coming up in 2027. We'll be heading into our fifth season, 10 hosts on my amazing network. Did I ever think that that would be me? No, you're talking about a little old country girl from a place called Levelland, South Carolina, small community on the other side of Belton where Chadwick Boseman is from. Never thought that I would be a host of a podcast, yet inducted into the International Internet Hall of Fame, host of the year, none of that. But yet, God knew when He allowed me to experience the things that I've experienced in my life. But I take these opportunities to be able to educate, to empower, and to encourage others to understand that they have a purpose, that they didn't get dropped out of the sky, that there's something that they're supposed to be doing. So we have to understand that the gifts and talents within us, they're to be poured out into this world because you never know what the next person may be in need of. So while we have some time, I want you to share with the listeners how they can follow you, how they can connect with you, how they can engage in some of the things that you do. Because outside of being an advocate, outside of being a mom, outside of being on the PTA, you also have a entrepreneur thing that you do as well. For those that may be in your area, please share how individuals can connect with you and support the things that you do, Queen Chirac.
Yes, guys. all of that, I am a licensed nail tech for the state of Illinois, and I am in the Chicagoland area. I am besides nails, I teach a nail class. I'm an alumni of Dudley Beauty College. I teach a nail class for children ages 5 to 19 once a month for a couple hours from 3 to 6. It's once a month where I teach nails, and the children also learn. The young men, they learn barbers. They can also do cosmetology if they're into that, as well as the girls. And we teach braid services to the kids, and this is free of charge every third Saturday of the month, and the kids absolutely love it. They get a snack, they get the education so that we can build future entrepreneurs and they can make their own money and stay out of mommy and daddy's pockets. So, definitely I'm doing that. I do have some other ventures that I plan on pursuing this year and at the start of next year, so people can be on the look for that. But if you would like to follow me on TikTok, my account is at off with your head 00. My profile is called This Queen Crush. I will share that with my dear sister, and we can put that out there, as well as I have my Instagram page in which that I post my nail content, Angel Hollow Nails. So I've got a lot of things going on, and I do have multiple platforms on TikTok. So you'll catch me. Sometimes you'll catch me on my sneaky pages, just so I can see what's going on for nephew. But that is pretty much the gist. I'm really just a regular Chi-Town girl who's active in my community from the south side of Chicago. Roseland, stand up, born and bred. I am just all out with it, and I am hoping to connect with some other people to push my ventures out there, as well as to form partnerships so that we can bring resources back to my community. Unfortunately, the community that I live in, we need a lot of help right now. We are getting a little bit. They will be doing the CTA red line extension close to my home, which is is a blessing and a curse. Seeing as some of my neighbors have had to sell their properties to this red line extension, but it's good for the community to help bring the community back. So you all can follow me on that journey. I'll be starting recording things so you all can see the progress, and you all can ask questions on how you can possibly help out or ways to start stuff in your community.
Amen, amen, amen. Well, definitely, you will be able to, if you did not get the information, you always can go over to my Substack page, Queen of Collaborations. I will definitely have details from tonight's show on that page. Y'all know y'all can always go to Linktree, Queen of Collaborations, and find all of the links where you can find me. Of course, I am on all social media platforms. Anywhere you can Google me, you can Google Queen of Collaborations. I guarantee you, I'll pop up, and all of the things that I do. You can go to my website, which is www.angelathomassmithbooks.com. You can check out some of my 160 plus publications over there, the magazine, some journals, different things that I have done over the last 10 years as a published author. And you can check out some of the things that we have coming up. You can check out the Crew podcast. You can just check out a lot of things that I am doing. Of course, I'm always hanging out over on TikTok. Of course, I go by We Are the Change That We Desire to See in This World. So if you are on TikTok, come over, check us out, get involved in some of the things that we are doing. I tell you, we are definitely about our community, and to see that our community is coming together and rallying together and being the change that we want to see. We have to understand that change begins and ends with us. And y'all, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. It has come to that time. It is now Ngozi time. Turn it over to Dr. Ngozi.
Unmuted.
Thank you so much, Doctor. You know, the wonderful one day, Doctor. And the time next year already has a master's degree, so she's doing her thing. So, yeah, I want to put that in here. But thank you so much for all the folks that count on around these magnificent show on Tri-City. And of course, on Sunday night, we come back all with the International Arena Hall of Fame. Right? In Friday. On Ramita and it will be 9:30 Eastern Daylight Time for the one and only divination. And of course, 20444. 1 pound of listen. Join, and it's brought to you by Ngozi Time. Of course, our network, we have a mission statement. The mission statement is to save lives. And we believe that we do our part in this world to help people and save people. The lamb and the lion shall lie down together. And every man and woman shall sit under his or her own victory. None shall be afraid. Have advertising and go to Time Multimedia. Twitter, Google, Instagram, and X on Twitter, on the Layland Ngozi. Book. Here comes the our wonderful programming tonight. Oh, lay. Go to my and email. Your mother and father stay producer, Dr. Lay Wayne, for the University of Michigan and Columbia University, and Lonnie and Debbie's baby boy. Stay the night, and on Force Radio. Supporter from the Constitution. And those things, no accolades. The 2023 NFL Award winner, named Coach of the Year. 2023 International Internet Radio Hall of Fame broadcasting is but the next the 2026 International Internet Radio Hall of Fame broadcasting lifetime achiever elect from Lemonland, South Carolina. Also, proprietor of the Crew Podcast on all major podcasting systems, the one and only Angela Thomas Smith.
Again, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. I tell you, this case has been something that has been near and dear to my heart. If you do not know about this case, I implore you to check it out and see what is happening. We are praying and trusting God is going to yet move, and Carmelo will be coming home soon, whether it's through a retrial or if his case is vindicated. However, we're trusting God and understanding that what we're doing out here in this community is needed. So I will be back in 4 weeks, y'all. I will be back in 4 weeks. I think it is going to be September the 12th. You can join me back here. I'm going to have amazing guests that's going to be a part of my show. This guy has spent over 17 years behind TDCJ, and he's going to be sharing his journey. He has been paroled, and he's going to be sharing what it was like being behind TDCJ and now being able to have a second chance at life. So y'all, please join me back here September the 12th, same time, same place. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, and y'all have a great night. Be blessed.
Your line has been disconnected by the moderator.
All right. Thank y'all for joining me. I hope y'all were blessed by the conversation, and we gonna leave sending shout out to Camilla.
They thought the truth would stay buried. They thought the story was already written, but what was hidden is coming to light. We stand for justice. We stand for truth. And we believe Carmelo is coming home. The setup is being exposed. What was hidden, now everybody knows. Yeah. Truth is rising. Lies can't stand. Yeah. Justice is moving.